All right, people, this is Uncle Yab, and you're listening to Gab with Yab. Today, this is my podcast episode number 4, and I'm going to be talking about military life. As you guys all know, or some of you guys that know me, I was in the military for 20 years. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. Okay, my job there was a hull technician. Hull technician is what you call, it's a welder. And I wasn't an underwater welder. I was a welder on the surface. So I was a surface welder. Hull technician, second class. And I did my 20 years. I came in 1990. And I retired in 2010. Okay, and I pretty much made that decision on my own. You know, I had graduated from school and everything like that, and I was trying to get different jobs. I was a kid at that time, not really a kid, 23 years old, but I still was trying to find my way in life. So I wind up choosing the path to go to the military. So I told my parents, I said, look here, you guys, I want to go into the military. And I want to make something out of myself. Because at that time, I didn't really want to go to college. And I didn't have the money to go to college. And at that time as well, I had a 2-year-old daughter. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with her and the life like we all had. I had a girlfriend at the time, which became my first wife. So my daughter was 2 years old when I joined the military. I chose the Navy because the Navy had a lot of things to offer me in specific. They had a lot of jobs, so a lot of times when you, if one of you young guys, young girls or guys want to deal with the military or want to think about going into it, think about the Navy, because a lot of times the Navy is a different way of going than, say, the Army or the Marines. The Army and Marines, they do more of the ground stuff and the grunt stuff. They do have jobs, but I think you have more of an opportunity and more of a choice of what you can do in the military. Now, different type of jobs in the military, well, specifically with the Navy, they're called ratings. Now, the Army and the military and the Navy, the Army and the Marines call them MOS. MOS is so, but the Navy call them ratings. And like I told you guys, my rating was a HT, hull technician, second class. And that's what I retired as. Now, getting back to how I decided to join the military, why did I pick it? I picked it because, like I said once before, I was told that when you join the Navy, you can get to go different places and see different things. And that definitely was true. That was definitely true because I've been to a lot of places. I've been to France, Italy, Spain, Sicily. I was stationed in Hawaii for 3 glorious years. I was also down in Florida for a while. I was stationed in Japan for a year. So that was really a good thing for me, a good environment for me. And a way for me to get out and get away from my hometown, which was Washington, D.C. I was able to get out, and I was also stationed in Guam, too. I brought my family to Guam, and we had a good time. We really did. Guam is a little island off the coast of Polynesia, and it was really nice. We always call it a poor man's Hawaii. But other than that, it was a good time. It was a good time for us and my family. And the Navy is not really in harm's way when it's come down to a war situation. Because I was in the Iraqi war and things like that, but I wasn't considered on the ground. I wasn't a ground pound or whatever. I was inside the Navy ship, and I was doing my job under the engineering department. And I was an engineer, not an engineer, but part of engineering, which was doing my job. I was fixing the ship. If the ship need fixing, or if I had some type of job to do, they would, get a job for us in my shop. I was in the CHT shop, and with the CHT shop, it's considered the collecting, holding, and transfer shop. And we did a lot of the plumbing work and the stuff like that in the sewage department. So we did all kind of work in regards to that around the ship. And I was the work center supervisor, so I had a couple guys. I had maybe like 12 or 13 guys up under me. And this is when I was on the USS Kitty Hawk. And this was in Yokosuka, Japan. And I had a really good time there. But once again, like I said, going different places and seeing a lot of different things can open your eyes for a young kid such as myself or anyone that's trying to go into the military. I would definitely pick the Navy, or definitely would say the Navy is a good way to go for all you young guys and girls trying to make something for yourself or thinking about going into the military. Okay, second of all, the life in the military. Well, what I did, once I joined, I didn't want to leave my daughter there. She was 2 at the time, and I had a girlfriend, so I wound up marrying her. Okay, now, a lot of things goes into marriages and bringing a family on board with you when you go into the military. A lot of times people do it for a lot of different reasons. They want to do it for pay purposes, because when you bring on a wife and a kid, things like that, once you join the military, they take care of them. And you also get a little extra money for having a wife and kid or somebody, or a dependent of somebody you're taking care of. Also, you can do it being single. And my advice for any young guy or girl out here today, if you want to do something like that, join the military while you're single. That way you can enjoy yourself by yourself. You can do what you want to do, explore, and do everything that you want to do without the hindrance of a family member back home and waiting on you to come back home and waiting on you to get from where you need to go. Because when you're in the military, you're gone for a long period of time, guys. Sometimes I was gone for 6 months at a time. I was on a few ships. And a lot of times my ship would leave on 6-month deployments. And that's definitely a long time to be away from your spouse and your family. And that's one of the pros and a few cons of that, being married and single, things like that. If you have a good wife or a good spouse, they will be able to handle it. They will be able to take on the responsibility that you left and continue on. But there was also instances where I had guys or either girls that it didn't work out so good. A lot of the guys were getting Dear John letters and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys know what a Dear John letter is, but that's not good if you are 3,000, 4,000 miles away out to sea and your wife or significant other sends you a letter saying that, hey, it ain't working out, or hey, I moved out and I don't like this anymore. I'm unhappy, and you can't come home. So that's definitely a bad feeling. Now, I've never been through that, but I've knew guys that did, and I felt for them guys, because that's definitely a bad feeling. Now, I was on a few ships in the military. I started off on the USS Grapple, ARS-53, out of Little Creek, Virginia, and it was like a rescue salvage ship. And once again, I was doing my duties there, and I started off as a fireman recruit, and I worked my way up to second-class petty officer, HT2, and we had a lot of fun there. And that one particular ship that I just told you about, we had divers on that ship. And we dealt with a lot of diving expeditions. If anything happened with ships or planes that crashed in the water or at sea, a lot of time we were tasked for going out and retrieving that ship or that plane. And it was a lot of fun because we got to see different things underwater. And everybody was involved in evolution like that. It was an all-hands expedition when it came down to that. So I was in the Navy. I was in Virginia for like 8 years of my military career. So I told my wife at the time, hey, let's do something else. You want to go overseas, let's try something different, because I figure if I'm going to do a 20-year bid in the military, I want to see the world. So what we wound up doing after I got done with my 8 years in Norfolk, Virginia, and I was on sea duty and I was on shore duty, so that was pretty good there too. So once I got done with that, I picked a ship in Guam. Okay, and that was the USS Frank Cable. And what that ship did, that ship pretty much took care of submarines, and that ship would go around, and if a submarine had problems and the submarine was out to sea, we would actually go to that submarine and tend it, fix it, do everything it needed to do. It was like we were like a workshop out to sea. And if that submarine needed anything, and if we were able to do it, we would do it. And that consisted of welding, pipe fitting, brazing, cutting, so on and so forth. So I stayed in Guam for like a year. Then I went to school in Hawaii. I went to a weld school in Hawaii, and that was definitely a good time there. And then I wound up going to Yokosuka, Japan, for like a year. And I was on the USS Kitty Hawk. That's an aircraft carrier. And during that time, that was when they did the second bombing of the World Trade Center. And after that, once they did that, they called everybody back to the ship, and we went balls to the wall. That's what they call it. And it took us 2 weeks to get from Yokosuka, Japan to the Arabian Sea. And we stayed out there. And what my ship was doing, what my ship was the actual platform for the Black Hawks. And if you guys know anything about stuff like that, Black Hawks, Delta Force, these are the badasses of the Navy. So what they would do, they would assign these guys to come on board a different ship or a vessel and basically be a witch hunt. So a lot of times they did all their sleeping during the day, and at night they would saddle up all their stuff, get their guns, get their weapons, and they would go out and they would get sent off by plane to go do their thing with the Bin Laden situation. And it was fun, you guys. It was really fun. The only bad part about it, we didn't know when we were going home. And we had a thing called, we were doing emails and stuff like that, sending back and forth. But once you're in a combat situation, or once you're overseas in combat, they shut all that stuff down. So you can't get in contact with nobody. Your girlfriend, your wife, your significant other, nobody. And that's a terrible feeling. Terrible feeling. Because they don't want us or you guys back home to let anybody know where our destination is. And I mean, we were out there 2-3 weeks at a time, couple months at a time, and we didn't really know where we were because the captain wasn't telling us anything, and it was just crazy. It was crazy. But I mean, overall, we had a good time. We had a good time, and I enjoyed it. And we got done with that. We came back home. I got back home, say, maybe 2 days before Christmas. And that was rough. So we got back home. I enjoyed myself then. And I left Japan, and I got stationed in Hawaii. 3 glorious years, you guys, in Hawaii. I was in Oahu. That's Honolulu, Hawaii. And I definitely had a good time there. So I was in Hawaii, and I was on a ship called the USS O'Kane. That was a DDG, which is a destroyer guided missile, DDG-77, the USS O'Kane. And that was like a small ship, but we had a good time. And now I used to be on the East Coast, which was Virginia, stuff like that. So now I'm on the West Coast, you guys. And it's definitely different, especially being in Hawaii. The weather was gorgeous. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my whole time there. And we did a lot of different things. We got underway. We did same thing. We did jobs and stuff like that. We did expeditions. We went out to different countries. We had different courses we had to go. We went out to Singapore. We did a lot of different trips. We had 6-month deployments, and that's what happens when you're on a ship. You do what you call 6-month deployments. And I definitely had a good time. I mean, Turkey, Spain, Singapore, Hong Kong, all those places were really good places to go. Thailand, definitely good places and stuff like that. I went to the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, and there was a lot of good shopping there, a lot of good gold, a lot of silk, jade, things like that, and just a lot of things that you would ordinarily see if you didn't go into the military. And I enjoyed it. I really did. I enjoyed that time. So once my time was up in Hawaii, I was there from 2003 to 2006. And then I started, I made my way over back to Florida. And I was Mayport, Florida. I was on the USS John F. Kennedy. And the Kennedy was another aircraft carrier, but the Kennedy was in bad shape. And by that time, I was in my 16th, 17th, 18th year. And the Kennedy, I was only there for 7 months because the Kennedy wasn't really a ship that was going out to sea, things like that. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want to go out to sea anymore. I was getting tired of it. And we pretty much decommissioned that ship. And if you guys Google the USS John F. Kennedy and you Google the decommissioning crew, you will see my name. Hull Technician 2nd Class Larry T. Thompson. ESWAS, Surface Warfare. That was my pin that I wore. I was considered an enlisted surface warfare specialist. And what that entails is just basically you get a pin for learning everything about the ship, the different things about how the ship run, and that's dealing with the engines, things like that. And once you complete that, you take a test, they give you a pin, and you'll be what you call ESWAS certified, and that's enlisted surface warfare specialist. Now, my next topic is how to cope while you're in the military, how to last. Now, I was the type of person, the way I was raised with respect and to respect others. So it wasn't hard for me to take orders and follow direction because I was doing that with my dad and mom as a kid. But you definitely want to do that. You definitely want to do different things like that. Coping with the military, what you want to do, you want to just keep your head up, keep grinding, keep a good work ethic. And if you don't have a good work ethic, the military definitely will teach you one. And that followed me to this day. I did 20 years. I retired in 2010, like I said. And to this day, I get to work half an hour to an hour early. I've been doing that for years because the way I look at it is, because the military was like, if you're on time, you're late. So that was always distilled in my mind. So now, even now today, when I go to work at the hospital that I work at, I may come 30 minutes early and just sit out in the parking lot and just watch TV. Listen to music, and maybe, make some phone calls and stuff like that before I go in. But I'm definitely going to be early. And that's come from that military work ethic, that background that I have. And as far as coping with it, you just want to just stay positive. For you young cats that's trying to go into the military, hopefully I can help you guys out. Always have a support cast with your family or somebody that's willing to write you letters, send you packages, care package they call it, and maybe it may have your favorite magazine or your favorite book, or just some stuff like gum, candy, things that you like that you was always eating back home, and always let them know to send you something that's that let you think about home while you're away. Because trust me, you guys, when you're out to sea, I'm not gonna say that it's no fun, but sometimes it can get lonely out there because you don't have no family. And the military crew, the Navy crew, pretty much becomes your family. And I made a lot of good friends, in the military between that time and I retired. And I don't regret one time ever joining. And a lot of the guys that I have, a lot of the guys that I was dealing with, and a lot of friends were definitely good guys, and I still close to them to this day. Okay, now, next topic is the 3 things you must do in the military to stay relevant, to keep on top of what you're doing, and just to be a good sailor, a good military personnel, etc. 1, you want to keep a good uniform, and that's all they ask for in the military. Keep a good uniform, because you're going to always be looked at. You're going to always have different type of inspections, so you want to always be what we used to call squared away. Make sure you're a squared away sailor. Have your hair cut nice. Make sure you have a clean shave. Make sure your boots are shined, spit polished. Make sure your creases are right in your shirt, and make sure everything is on point. Because once again, you're always going to be looked at. You're going to be in formation, and your superiors are going to see all that type of stuff. So it makes it different. 2, come to work on time. And like I said, that's where that work ethic comes in at, that I got to this day. Always come to work on time, and that's a sign of responsibility. If you come to work on time, that means they can depend on you and they can trust you, and you can go a long way. Number 3, you have to know how to take orders. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you can't take orders in the military, if you can't take orders from your mom and dad, do not join the military. Because if you don't have that ethic, somebody asks you to do something, you do it, you may not want to go to the military, because you definitely ain't going to last. You're not going to last, guys. So you have to be able to take orders. And I'm not talking about nothing where a person is demeaning you, because a lot of times people get that impression that the Navy is all about hollering and screaming and calling you all kind of names and stuff like that. That military is pretty much gone. I know you guys saw the movie Full Metal Jacket and stuff like that. Well, that was a Marine aspect of it. They still may have that, but in the Navy, basically they call it a kinder and gentler Navy now, where they don't do all the screaming and hollering and stuff like that. But, it's nothing wrong with it. That just makes your skin thick. And sometimes people need stuff like that to keep them going in the right direction. And that's all I have to say on that, you guys. So hopefully this podcast helped out with any decisions of any of these young people that want to go into the military. It's definitely a good move. You get paid every 1st and 15th. And once you get out, whether you did 1 year or 5 years, you considered a veteran. And all you veterans out there, I'm talking to you guys as well, and you guys know who I'm talking to. You get what you call a veteran's preference. So that entails if you apply for any job, city, state, or government job, that veteran preference allows you to be picked first for the job based on your skills and based on you being in the military. That's like a reward. It's like a reward, and it's definitely awesome. I drive around now with veteran license plates, and I get a lot of respect. I went to a toll one day, and I was paying my toll, and I went to pay it, and the toll booth guy said, "Go ahead, sir, somebody already paid it." And I was like, wow, that was awesome, because the person saw my veteran tag, so they went on ahead and did that for me, and I appreciated that. And I take pride in being in the military. A lot of people would talk down about it and say that the military is not for certain people, it's not for us or whatever. And I beg to differ, because I had 20 good years, and now the military is taking care of me. So I don't have nothing bad to say about it. Once again, this whole show is about military life, pros and cons. And hopefully I've gave you some of the pros and some of the cons especially with dealing with military from a single standpoint and from a marriage standpoint. You guys also have to know that pretty much the military owns you. So you can't just get up and leave. Oh, well, I'm going back home. I'm sick of this crap. Nah, it's not going to work. You have to fill out different paperwork, and you have to do different things the right way. And basically, if you sign up for 2 years or 4 years, that's a contract that you got to abide by. Excuse me. And a lot of times, people don't want to do that. They get homesick. They try to get out of the military. And once you do stuff like that, you start putting a negative eye on things. And if you get out the Navy without your contract being up, that's not a good thing, because that may be something negative. You don't want to get out. You want to get out with an honorable discharge, not a dishonorable discharge. Your on your paperwork, it wants to say honorable discharge, because a lot of times if you get out dishonorably, you won't be able to get a job anywhere, or it'll definitely be hard, especially in the federal government. So if you guys ever decide to do that, decide what you want to do. If you want to make a career like I did, which wasn't bad, or you can do your 3 or 4 years and get out. If you get out in 3 or 4 years, you can use what you call the GI Bill or whatever they have now, and that can help you go to school, go to college. They'll pay for your books. They'll pay for your tuition. You just have to make sure you get the right grades and continue doing the right thing. And it's a good deal. It's definitely a good deal. And they give you money. They give you a stipend to live. They give you a stipend for your books. And that's what I did. I took advantage of all that type of stuff. And then when I retired, and I retired back in Norfolk, and I wound up coming up to Massachusetts. And I went to Bunker Hill Community College. And I went for an associate degree in fire science. But I fell short, so I wound up getting a certificate in fire protection and safety. I did my 66 credits, and that's another thing I can put on my resume. And it was definitely fun. And the military paid for everything. So I was definitely grateful for that. And that's where I'm at today. Well, once again, you guys, you've been rapping with, or you've been gabbing with Uncle Yab, and that's my story. And you guys I want you guys to always know that I got something to say, and I'm gonna put it out there. So until next time, take care and God bless.